where is the world going? How is my business going to shape in the next 1 to 5 years? What's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to my business? So I teach people from 14 different countries. I teach business. I help businesses to grow and accelerate. So I get these questions all the time from different people, and especially because I live in the US. And even now, US control basically 70 to 80% of the global economy. We basically have like the control on the whole thing. So what's happening between COVID and everything? Are we going to have a boom right after COVID? Or what is going to happen right after COVID, right? Are we going to get into a financial crisis, or are we going to grow significantly? What's going to happen? So if you need to understand that, if you don't understand this thing, then there is a serious problem, because this is a world that has become a place where you need to know what is happening in the macro, like in the whole world, like what is going on in the whole world, because the whole world depends, like what you do depends on where the whole world is going. Let me give you a specific example. 2007, you bought a house on 2006-7 in the US. You lost 30 to 40% of the value of that house for 2008, 9, and 10, and 11. So in other words, if you waited instead of 2006, and think about it, every guy in the real estate industry, you know what they say? Don't time the market. Don't time the market. Does that make sense? Like, that's what everybody is saying. And you decided, you know what, I don't need to time the market. You know what I will do? I'm going to buy on 2006. Perfect time to buy. It's a buyer's market. Let's go ahead and buy it. That's what they told me at the time. And many of my friends bought houses at the time. And I was new. I came to the US, I think early 2006. Somewhere around that time, I think. So now I need to think about it, or beginning 2007, somewhere around that time. And many of my friends bought houses, and their houses depreciated 40 to 50% in like 1.5 years. So now it's like, Ruble, what's the big deal? It all came back. But here's my question. What if you are able to buy houses on 2008 or 9 or 10 or 11 or 12? You could have bought a house for much lower interest rate for half the price, and you could buy 2 houses or 3 houses instead. And I did buy a few houses in the process. Again, this is not a real estate training, but I just wanted to show you how important it is for you to understand where the economy is going, where the world is going. Make sense? Okay, so let's look at the world. So if you look at the world, you would see patterns. Like if you look at share market is a great indicator of how the world is operating, although it's like significantly different than what is happening in the world at this point. We even have something called a real economy and a financial economy, which is financial economy is the market, real economy is the world, is the real market, right? So there is a significant difference there too. It used to be one thing before, you know. Okay, so think about it. So what happened in the world? 2000, we had a tech bubble. 2007, we had a housing bubble. 2020, what do we have? You might be thinking it is a coronavirus crisis. It is a coronavirus crisis. It's a serious thing. It's a very serious thing. And I know personally that it's a very, very serious thing that you need to pay close attention to, especially if you live in the Western world. Because we as Westerners, we don't have the immunity to handle this situation. So if you live in the Western world, be very serious about it. If you're in the Eastern world, still be very serious about it. But Western world is like much more vulnerable to this based on the data that I'm seeing. Behind the scene, what happened? Because of this crisis, because of the coronavirus, and because of all the messes that we created from 2007 to now, even before COVID hit us, we had $13 trillion of excess money in the market. $13 trillion of excess money in the market. What does that mean? It means in 2007, when we hit the financial crisis, when we went into this like deep recession, the Great Recession, government started printing money. because we thought that is a solution to the problem. I'm not saying that was a solution or not. That's not my point. My point is we started printing money and we have $13 trillion. And the fascinating thing about US is US printed around $7 trillion. Okay, $7 trillion. And of the $7 trillion, $6 trillion went to Wall Street. What does that mean? So this $6 trillion went to corporations. So in other words, corporations got 6 out of $7 trillion. The 6 is accurate. The 7 trillion might be slightly be a little bit flexible on it. Google it and find out the exact number. So this $6 trillion went to corporations. So in other words, they were corporate debts. So governments, the Fortune 500, the biggest companies in the world, they got this money. And now, what a company, what is that? What is a company supposed to do? The goal is like we have money and then we can innovate and we could come up with a great, amazing product like a Tesla or an Apple or iPhone or something. And except for Amazon, Microsoft, and probably Apple, most of all these companies, you know what they did? Like Bank of America, like many companies like that, probably Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Boeing, you know what they did? The 6 trillion, most of it went to buying their own shares. So it's like, here's a metaphor that's coming to me. Excuse my visual, but a snake biting its own tail. That's what we did. So we decided in our magnificent optimization skills that we don't have any more imagination to innovate. We don't have any imagination to come up with great ideas or creative products. We thought, you know what a fascinating idea. What a beautiful thing. Let's take this money and then invest in our own shares so we could have like even more profit, because when the market is going up, let's make more money in the process. That's what we did. Okay. So now, even before COVID hit, we reached a point like, so this corporate debts were at like very low percentage because they're like, oh, this is like free money. Like governments had like very low percentage of money, percentage of interest for borrowing money from government. And then naturally the banks gave for low percentage to their friends in Wall Street too. So what happened here? What happened here was the poor person, the average person like you and I, were ripped off. I'm not that average, but still, I belong to the average class. And because of that, what happened was, we, as the normal people, we don't have as many assets. We don't invest a lot in shares. We don't have a lot of assets. So what happened was, the people, the common, regular, normal people, they stopped having as much assets because the wealthy became much wealthier. That's when Bernie Sanders happened. That's when Trump happened. That's when, all the other things that happened in the world were because the fundamental problem was the wealth gap was significantly higher, and we wanted outside solution. America said, let's try Trump. Let's come up with this guy and see. He seems to be somebody who's fresh with genuine and original ideas. Let's try him. That's what happened to America. And America was like, oh my gosh, this guy could be a good solution for us. You can judge by yourself how the solution was. No comments on that. But I'm just observing with you what happened. Right? In addition to that, whenever there was like huge income difference in the world, most of the time, 60-70% of the time, there was a major war. There was a major war between like two countries who are in a very competitive situation, in this case US and China. I mean, we kind of had a trade war, but other than that, fortunately we didn't have a physical war. I'm grateful to God for that. So think about it. So we, in our deeper mind, we already knew that we might potentially go into a war, and we thought this person called Trump, we as in America thought this person called Trump would be a better solution to handle an uncertain world, because he seemed to be very strong, macho guy, very strong, powerful guy who might be able to, bully other countries and stuff like that. And there is some, observationally, there is some truth to it too, right? He's a very strong guy. Experience, he pretend, or he might be pretending, I don't know, but he present himself as a very strong guy. So that's what America wanted. So that's why America came up with this person called Trump to be the president, right? So why am I sharing this with you? The reason is I'm just showing you the whole picture of what is happening and what is about to happen now. Okay. So now that December 2019, and this is 2020, right? Yeah, for sure. and January, February, March, COVID hit, became a serious issue. And because of that, what happened was a potential war is averted for now. There's no war anymore. The war program is cancelled. Why? Because our focus has shifted from the inequality to a common enemy, which is COVID. So we all had a common enemy. When the collective psychology has a common enemy to fight against, then we work together. We work together to come up with a solution. So our energy has shifted as a world. And COVID, like I said, is a very serious situation. At the same time, that has united us in a deeper level. Because of that, we don't have a war anymore. So now we have a nice president, president-elect at this point, Joe Biden. And he's a nice person, but he's strong enough. And he has like his own strong stand against China and stuff like that as well. So that could be the shift internally in the soul of America. So why am I saying this too? Like, since I'm an American, I just wanted to share this with you. Like, people who voted for Trump did not vote because they are racist. Because I have so many friends who are Trump supporters. So many friends. And I actually voted for Joe Biden. At the same time, I have so many friends who are like really strong supporters, who are some of the best people in my life. Like some of my favorite friends, some of my best people, but they are supporting Trump because of some reason. So we don't need to be in a place, again, this is not a political discussion. I'm just showing you a way out for us to think and unite with each other, right? So if you look at it, you will realize that whether a person supported Trump or Joe Biden, we are all patriots. We all love each other. We all support each other. We might have like significant differences between extreme left, extreme right, whatever, extreme center or top or bottom. But the bottom line is, at this point, I believe that we need a person with a very strong character of empathy and love to take our country to the next level. Whatever happened until now, it was for some greater mission, potentially to handle us. If we went into a war, we wanted to be protected. We wanted to be prepared. That's why probably as a collective we decided for the previous president. So I just wanted to give you that reasoning. I'm not justifying, enabling anybody. I'm just merely making an observation. And as I already told you, I am more of the progressive type and very supportive of progressive ideas to change the world. At the same time, I try to look at the world in a very objective way as much as I can. Okay, that being said, now that we are in this position, what's going to happen? Today, 2020, as we speak in November, whatever date it is today, right before Thanksgiving, here's the important thing that is happening. By now, the $13 trillion that was printed in the world has become 20 trillion approximately. It's going to be 25 trillion by the time we are out of this problem. What does that mean? What it means is, remember when we started, like before this topic diverged into 17 different things, we started about like how the world is going. And I'm actually still talking about where the world is going, right? So if you look at it, we had a tech crisis. We had a housing crisis. Post-COVID, we are going to have a currency crisis. This is a point that I'm coming to. Why? Because when Joe Biden is elected, and especially if he gets majority from Georgia, and then he wins the Senate, Democrats are going to print more money. which is essentially needed. I'm not for or against against. I'm just merely making observations. Okay, guys. Okay, and you could be for it. You could be against it. That's not my point. My point is they would invariably start printing more money. So which means by the time end of mid 2021, we would have printed collectively, the world would have printed probably around 20 to 25 trillion dollars. What does that mean to the world? Go back to the basics of economics. If you go back to the basics of economics, you would know that if something is in oversupply, the value of it diminishes. So now, what is in oversupply? We have $25 trillion of excess money in the world. So what's the value for that? The demand will diminish. So which means that we are going to step into a financial crisis, potentially depressionary type financial crisis. That is because of a currency issue. It's a currency crisis. Keep in mind, we don't make the same mistakes again typically as humans, as a collective. We made the tech bubble and we made the housing bubble. Now we are making currency bubble. And we cannot avoid it. Most likely we cannot avoid it. This is part of the evolution of an economy. So there are three types of debt cycles. So there is a debt cycle, short-term debt cycle, mid-term debt cycle, long-term debt cycle. The short-term debt cycle is like where you have a small recession. What you do is you adjust the interest rate. So you would reduce the interest rate a little bit, and then all of a sudden there's like more money in the market, businesses have more money, and people have more money, economy is booming. Boom, done. And then we're out of recession, then going back again. That's one level. Second level is major problems like 2007, 2000. So 2007, what happened was we had a major economic challenge. What happened? Subprime market crashed. Insurance companies are not able to provide money to support the problems that they had. Insurance companies are going bankrupt. The world's financial economy stopped. Financial economy stopped. Not the real economy. The financial economy stopped. The AIG went bankrupt. Lehman Brothers went bankrupt. AIG, which is considered one of the biggest insurance company in the world, was about to go bankrupt. US said, you know what, let me print money for you. Right? And that is a second problem. And the third problem, because of all this printing, what happened is it is creating a bigger issue behind the scene, or transition behind the scene. We don't even need to call it an issue. That is creating a different dynamics in the world. Because of all the money that is printed, people who are poor became poorer. And I was talking about the geopolitical factor of nationalism and us US focusing on US, Brazil focusing on Brazil, India focusing on India. All happened because of this. One of the reasons is because of this income inequality. Because of the market is going up so high, and because of money is being circulated in the wealthy hands, what happened was the poor people, they started like, what is happening in the world? I don't have health insurance, I don't have this, I don't have that. And some of you were like, oh, whoa, let's not be so liberal. We shouldn't have health insurance for people. That's not my point, guys. What I'm saying is, I'm just showing you there is huge income inequality in the world. And even if you are saying that health insurance should not be a thing for the world or should be a thing for the world, think about one thing in terms of economy is that if there is a major difference in economical gap between people, then there could be a revolt or civil unrest or war or something like that. We thankfully avoided that for right now. Now it's for the world leaders to figure this shit out. Okay, the world leaders, come on, you had enough time to sit at home and set your dinner table and figure out how to do this. It's time for you to figure it out, right? Because we screwed up as a collective with capitalism. We screwed up. We let down the people who are poor, right? We didn't, generally speaking, capitalism has some roots of some Christian values there. America, this country, is built on some values. So as a country, we kind of slightly betrayed the poor people, right? So it's time for us to take in, like Jesus said, take in the poor and wipe their tears and help them and support as a collective and move forward. Again, the idea is not to be socialistic. I don't know exactly what to do. Nobody does. We need to have a capitalism 2.0. We need to have a capitalism 2.0. Otherwise, what is going to happen is China is going to take over the world. China is going to move forward and become the world's economy in a very short period, faster than we ever imagined. That's going to happen. If you don't want that to happen, let's invest the intellect, the innovation, and the imagination of this country and all over the world. And I don't have anything against China. I was born in India. We might have some some challenges with China internally, but at the same time, for me, I love I love faith. I love people believing in religions. I love people believing in some sort of God and some sort of creator. So there needs to be a world leader, a leader for the world as a country needs to have a moral ethics as well, right? So for example, we should be able to appreciate people from every religion, people from every faith, people from every color, people from every ethnicity. Is US a perfect model for that? No, it's not. But at the same time, US has a basic moral standard. Anyway, the bottom line is, in order for us to move forward, as we are going into this economy, we need to figure out how to distribute wealth in a capitalistic model. When I say distribute wealth, you're like, oh, let's not distribute wealth yet. I'm not asking you to, Bill Gates is for like additional tax for rich people, right? Amazon, Jeff Bezos is for that. CEO of Google, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, they are okay with having more money, more taxes for rich people. So if that's the case, it should be okay, I guess. Right? So we need to figure out a way. This is what I could think about. This is my random thoughts, okay? So as we are moving into this new world, new economy, which has become virtual, and it's going to stay virtual for a while now because of the coronavirus, here's what I recommend. Why don't we as a collective, as a country, as a world, invest a lot into artificial intelligence and then figure out a way to have automated systems work for us and then have some sort of royalty. Think about royalty, capitalistic royalty for the world. Not just for the US, for the world. So where the poor people can be taken care of so that we don't have this major income inequality and we don't need to go into World War III where we need to be fighting with each other. So what if we could have an automation, right? So let's forget about liberalism or conservatism or everything. What if you have automation and artificial intelligence and machine learning, invest a lot into that and accelerate technology, and the profit and the growth that we are getting in the world because of that reinvest into the real economy and helping the poor, helping the average people, helping the people who have like major issues in terms of health and stuff like that. So they have a basic income, a basic royalty that will support for their basic needs. And then if they want to be millionaire, they have to work hard for it. How about that as an idea? Because the faster we are able to figure out how to solve this challenge, the faster we are going to be a better world. Because we have all the wealth that we need to distribute with all of us. Again, the idea is not to like equally distribute with everybody. If you look at it today, we have more billionaires coming in China than in the US. So who is the real capitalist here? Think about it. This is not a favor or for or against statement. The idea is for us to have a capitalism 2.0. We have tried communism, that did not work. We have tried socialism by itself, it did not work. We need to have a capitalism with a heart symbol. Capitalism with a heart. So I am encouraging each of you to create this new model. I am encouraging you, all of us, to come up with a new model where if you could come up with an automated way for us humans to figure out a way to create machines and robots and artificial intelligence to work for us so that we could actually feed kids in Uganda or Afghanistan or some places in India or some places in some poor countries in the world. How about that as an idea? It's not a conservative idea. It's not a progressive idea. It's a human idea. Because we are going to need that. If you don't, then we could get into a major challenge. So that's the direction that I'm seeing the world. These are my random thoughts. I know I talked about everything from politics to philosophy to other things, but this is how I think. I just want to share that with you. And if that resonates with you, I would like you to be part of this movement where we reinvent capitalism. We reinvent the way humans look at each other. We reinvent how conservatives look at liberals, how liberals look at conservatives. We reinvent humanity, where each of you has a place in the world. Whether you're poor, whether you're rich, whether you're moderate, whether you're smart, whether you're average, whether you're not smart, whether you're healthy, you're not healthy, whether you're handsome or not handsome, whether you're black or white, whether you're Chinese or Vietnamese, or white, or anybody, you have a place in the world because we operate from heart. If we haven't learned that lesson from coronavirus and from the economy challenge that we are facing right now as you speak in the real economy, and figure out a way for us to reinvent capitalism to capitalism 2.0, so globally we all, from everyone in the world, benefit from it, we haven't learned much. But I strongly believe we did. I strongly believe that we could create this new capitalism. I strongly believe that we could create this new economy, which is going to happen anyway. This new model, new currency order, new way of dealing with finances, new way of seeing humans, new way of structuring and using creativity and innovation and adaptability to move the world. We know how to do this. We have done this. We are ingenious. Human ingenious is the biggest capital in the world. When we are struggling, when we are like stuck in a corner, we always figure it out. Birds are living in the same cage, the same nest that they were living like a million years ago. Monkeys are living in trees. Lions are probably living in like somewhere in the jungle. But humans have evolved. We evolved. We adapted. We grew. We came up with ideas. We innovated. We came up with ideas to move to the next level. We came up with new ideas and even more new ideas. We moved to houses. We started farming. We came up with ideas. We found out printing press. We know how to print. And fast forward, we have internet. We have YouTube. We have Google. We have Facebook. We have all kind of things that we came up with. Now it's time for us to reinvent humanity. It's time for us to reinvent how we look at each other, reinvent how we see as economies, as a global economy, global virtual economy, so that we could transition into that world order as one group of species who love each other, appreciate each other, and cheer for each other, so that we could all have the abundance that our Creator intended for us. That's how I see the world is going. That's my message for you. Love, Ruble.